Hello and welcome to Art Studio Henry. Today I'm going to be doing a loose watercolour overlaid with black and white pen work. So recently I've enjoyed doing some sketches using some white pens that I bought. These are Jelly Roll. I had them in 3 sizes. I think they came in a pack of 3 with a black pen of a different make. This one I think it was, the Micron 005. I just thought I'd have a little bit of fun. I'd seen other people use them, and sometimes it's a bit of a pain, or you've got to do really good planning to leave your white space in your watercolour, and sometimes it's nice to have a really fine line, and maybe the coverage is not so good with white paint or you don't want to use it, and the nice thing is, of course, this is really like drawing, not painting, to use a pen rather than a paintbrush. And so yeah, I've got a 05, a 08 and a 10. So what I've been doing is I do a painting where I keep all I first put in the watercolour, and I keep it all tonally sort of mid to dark. I mean, there's a little bit of light here, and obviously I've left some white, some of the paper showing through there for that often works well in watercolour. It somehow gives liveliness to the page, not to solidly fill everything in. So I roughly mapped in the colours I wanted. You can see the porch, which they sort of bled into each other, but I kind of don't mind that. And then once it had dried, instead of putting details in with black like you might do, I put them in with the white, obviously making a feature of the door and the patterns of the windows and so on, and picking things out in white. So I quite enjoyed doing that kind of thing a couple of times. There's another one here which I'd done something fairly similar, and just picked out the paintwork and architrave on the front of this rather charming building, which I really love this one because there was just a gap between the buildings here, and you could see a former building, so there was sort of like, you could see where they had removed the building, so you could see the roof line, and then this impossibly tall weird chimney. It was a very strange shape. I wonder what was there originally, and loads of textures. I might do something bigger on that actually, because all the textures there were amazing. Yeah, I mean, this works in a nice small sketchbook. So that's where we're headed. Today we're going to do something with this photo. I just saw this as I was walking along. All the pictures so far have been ones where I've taken the picture. Makes copyright much easier, that I don't have to worry about other people's copyright. And yeah, I just really liked all the different patterns, really. I just like all the brickwork. I like this slightly funky progression of this wiggly pipe, and of course it's nice to have the bike in the foreground with its spotted front basket. So yeah, and lots of patterns of bricks and so on. So I thought it'd make it more of a thing about patterns. If you can see in the background here too, just there's also a grill over the window there. Several grills actually. They look like they've got chicken wire. It isn't chicken wire actually. It's it's just the shape of chicken wire. It's actually leaded light, I think, in little hexagonal shapes. The frame of the building behind, and then in addition another sort of grill over the top of that. But I just liked all the layers of patterns and so on. So I'm going to do quite a loose beginning with watercolour and then draw in some of these details. I have, though, cheated slightly. I've not got a good track record of drawing bikes, so let's see what this is like. So I did draw in both the wheels because of the roundness, and it probably would be ruined if my circles aren't very circular, at least in the penwork, if not the paint. The paint I intend to keep looser. Yes, and I sketched in the basic, just the white frame really, in the handles. I didn't even do the seat or whatever, because I'm intending to put blocks of colour and then work it out as I go along. So let's begin. So I'm just picking it out very loosely. So I put in that first because it kind of goes over everything, and I didn't want to put too dark colours there. I can do something a bit more with it later on. This is the line of the lower brick on the building. Which goes behind the pipe, which I got a little high actually, so I'll probably lower that a bit. A sort of green-grey colour, so that's what I've mixed up. Something with a hint of and as you see, I've painted through the wheel and the tyres and put that detail in later, and I can always lay some darker for the tyre. This bit actually in the centre is part of the window, but I'm not going to worry about having gone as though the wall goes all the way through. As I say, I'm just blocking in rough colour. So I'm really just effectively drawing with my paintbrush. Obviously had a little bit of a plan in mind to leave some white. I'll probably increase that with, because I've already gone through this bit, when I put some pen work on. Okay. And then the handlebars and the saddle are a nice tan. I'm going to mark where they're going to be. So something sort of sitting like that. I could actually have a bit more red in them. So you can correct as you go along. So I'm just putting some patches of colour where I see things. So the rough shape of the arch, and there's something on the wall there, a little stone plaque I think. Put a bit of that detail in. Now the proportions of this aren't quite right because my page could do with being taller in proportion. It's a little bit shallow. So I've just made the arch what fits, and we'll get a bit of brickwork of the detailing around there which will go off the page, which is fine. Here we have the basic painting, and I've just literally just filled in some background colours, got some shapes in, and I've kept it all relatively dark in tone. In fact, if you squint your eyes, amongst the darks they're all not too dissimilar, slightly darker here and here, but the rest tonally are similar. But they should be dark enough to take white pen detail over. I also think I'll use some black pen detail, probably. We'll see how it goes. But by any stretch of the imagination, this is not a good painting. And this is probably its worst looking stage. But the idea is that you define some areas. And as I said, I'm most interested in the pattern aspects of this and all the different lines that there are and everything. So it's not necessarily meant to be the most 3D realistic. I'm not really doing it for that reason. So let's see where we get to as I put some detail in. I think the first thing I'll do is define the structure of the bike, because that's quite a key thing, and I think that will help to do that first. My white pens happen to be this Jelly Roll. I think they're quite good. I haven't tried anything else ever. This came as a 3-pack with 3 different sizes and a black pen. It was good, quite good value. I haven't tried anything else. These seem quite good. They're certainly not perfect. Their coverage is not sort of perhaps as thick as maybe other things are. I think, is it the Poco? Very thick pens, which like painting stick type things. I suspect they have greater coverage. Finally work better, quite a light press. And if you sort of go over it, it sort of scrapes through, so these thicker areas are difficult to do. If I come back to that later, I probably sort of reenact it again. So I'm not sure whether that is any better. I always go with it, some white paint if it really isn't thick enough. But for most of this, it will be absolutely sufficient. And there's the pedal that breaks it just there. And that goes round again into the middle. The little kind of middle type thing. It's not really quite how it looks visually, but it's also, this is a design rather than reality, so sometimes it's okay to do what's kind of archetypally expected or stereotypical. Even if it's actually not the truth and there isn't a little round circle really there. It's more complicated how it all joins together, but I can't do it like that in something so small. Again, I was just taking a look then at the spokes. And they're rather complicated because they're sort of like a double thing. They come from either side of whatever this is called, and therefore actually look crisscross, but again it's not kind of what we expect. I don't know if all bikes are like that. As I say, I kind of shied away from drawing bikes because they've got so many complicated angles. And not all of the spokes in this show up. Some of them are not catching the light. So at the moment I'm going to leave it as though we can't just like that, like the reality. But I will take a view on whether that's the right way to go.
Thanks for watching, and see you next time.